Wow, what a game, what a win, and what a shot by Rui Hachimura. Coming down to the very final seconds of the game, Austin Reaves having the ball, getting double teamed and throwing it to LeBron. LeBron driving middle, finding Rui Hachimura for a final shot in the corner, which according to Rui, LeBron told him that he would do and that he would find Rui for that exact shot, which Rui then caught and knocked down for a wide open corner 3-point shot to win the game. The Lakers winning 123-120, this being a back and forth affair throughout the entire thing. I mean, I'm pretty sure we had 5 to 10 different lead changes, and to be exact, they actually had 6, so I'm looking at it now. And all around was a very back and forth affair that the Lakers ultimately did win. Definitely in large part due to their depth, from guys directly like Rui Hachimura tonight, with no Luka Doncic tonight, and with him not even in the country tonight. I mean, neither in Canada nor the United States. Going back to Slovenia to witness the birth of his second child, so congrats to Luka. But with no Luka tonight, opportunity then fell to their role players and obviously to both Austin and LeBron. But with LeBron not having a very efficient and definitely not a great offensive game scoring wise for himself, the 10-point streak officially ending tonight at 1,297 games in a row. LeBron finishing with 8 points, having the opportunity to take that final shot if he wanted to, but you know, per usual, he made the right play, found the open teammate, and Rui Hachimura did knock it down. And with Rui Hachimura, they got a bunch of contributions from their supporting cast and even guys off the bench, even from a two-way player like Nick Smith Jr. Coming off the bench to drop 12 points in 14 minutes, he was huge for them. JJ Redick played some great minutes for them, finished the game directly for them. Coming off the bench to drop 14 points, 2 3-point shots, playing some great defense with 2 steals and 1 block to his name. Definitely being a big part of this group tonight. Not to mention guys like DeAndre Ayton, of course, having another great game for them. 17 points, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks, playing some great defense and especially during the fourth quarter, hustling back on defense and saving a couple of points in the open court. And for a game like this, every point counted. So with the hustle plays from Ayton, Laravia, Austin Reaves taking a few charges in the fast break and in the half court too, every one of them counted big. And then finally finishing up with Austin Reaves. I mean, what can you say about the guy? Whenever Luka's not playing, he definitely knows how to step up, which he once again did tonight, dropping 44 points, 11 assists, 5 3-point shots on 5 of 11 from the field, 45.5%, or rather 5 of 11 from the 3-point line, 13 of 21 from the field, 61.9%. I mean, the guy's definitely an all-star in my eyes, not only with the numbers, but his ability to step up when needed to. Again, with no Luka Doncic, or when LeBron's not playing well offensively, not scoring well anyway. Austin definitely knows how to step up, and they definitely can rely on him at this point, which he once again proved tonight. And heck, the fact they won this game with no Luka Doncic, LeBron scoring 8 points on 23.5% shooting, not to mention against a very good opponent, Toronto being a top 3 seed entering this game in the Eastern Conference, having an 8-game home win streak entering this game tonight, the Lakers beating them and directly on their own home court, not to mention coming off a back-to-back, or I guess on the first night of a back-to-back, in a pretty long road trip for their team. I think that's very impressive and very telling about how together they are, how much more talented and how much deeper they are than people initially gave them credit for, especially entering the season talking about DeAndre Ayton, Marcus Smart, and Jake Laravia, their new additions. Even for a guy like Hekadu Thero off the bench tonight, played pretty good and gave them some production. The fact that people said that they had no depth, no help to give Luka and LeBron, I think that's definitively been proven wrong, even before tonight's game, but now they put an exclamation point on it. So great game for the Lakers, and I'll let you hear from their team about their win tonight.
Hey, JJ, Rui said in the walk-off that basically LeBron said he was going to get him the ball, or to, I don't know exactly the words, but to find him. And what was your sense of that play and just seeing it unfold, and as the attention goes to Austin, LeBron gets the ball at the top of the key and how it played out?
Yeah, just felt like in that situation for us tonight, we had the group on the floor that we wanted. Shot clock was off. You know, I didn't feel the need to call a timeout, and knowing that, you know, trust AR with the ball, trust LeBron as a decision maker. And, you know, they went to fire, and, you know, I think it's January 5th, 2007, a streak of whatever it is, 1,297 games. LeBron is acutely aware of how many points he has, at that point, and like he's done so many times in his career. And I remember him getting ridiculed for it early on when he would make the right play and his teammate would shoot the game winner. He did it like he's done so many times, and just knew it was good as soon as it left Rui's hands, and just a big time play. Very, very much reflective of the resilience we had tonight on the road, shorthanded, and thought our guys did a really good job of just managing the game. We managed their runs. We managed momentum swings on the road. We managed some tough breaks, I thought, in terms of some calls. They were consistent both ways, but sometimes, on those momentum changing plays, it can hurt you. And I thought our team just kept the resolve and resilience to win on the road.
You mentioned LeBron's streak. Is there some sort of basketball gods thing in there where he passes up the ball and Rui actually hits the shot to win the game?
For sure, that's what we talked about in the locker room. The basketball gods, if you do it the right way, they tend to reward you.
You mentioned it, kind of going back to the streak. He's acutely aware of how many points, not just his career, but what does that say about LeBron at this point of his career making that sacrifice when he doesn't know how many games he has left? He could continue to streak until the end, but in that position, he makes the right play.
Yeah, I mean, I think it shows a level of trust in his teammates, and I thought one of the big parts of that play, once they fired on AR, was him stampeding that pass, which I think scrambled the defense even further than it was, and it just allowed Rui all the time in the world to take that shot.
JJ, you said LeBron was acutely aware of how many points he's had. How many times?
He was acutely aware of everything.
How many times have you been?
He's LeBron. He knows everything.
How acutely aware have you been as his coach of this streak in the back of your mind in the situations when he's had 8 points, and I guess for it to end like this?
Yeah, it pops up every now and then when he like the other night against Phoenix, where he ends up with 10 or whatever it was. I think we had one game last year. It's really McMenamin that keeps bringing it up.
Coach, at this point,
He's not going to be very happy about this. What was? Did you see LeBron's reaction? Well, you had a quick interaction with him.
Oh yeah. Just joy. I mean, just seeing Rui run across the court with the whole team. I mean, the group was connected tonight. It was a fun night to compete together, and I've seen that kind of expression on LeBron's face of intensity, and it's to do that when a teammate hits a shot is pretty awesome.
Coach, as for Rui Hachimura, I mean, he has grown so much. What was the first impression that you had about him in the first conversation that you had with him? The thing that stood out to you the most about him?
Just about the conversation, or as a player?
Any conversation that you had, or something that
Yeah, I mean, he was coming off 23, 24 career high in 3-point percentage, and it was an outlier relative to the rest of his career in terms of being significantly above 40%. And remember Bo Levesque, who's his player development coach, during our summer meetings in August, Bo had gotten to work out with him a few times, and I think there was some questions around whether or not he was a true laser, and he's a laser, and we found that out very quickly. And I have so much belief when he gets his feet set and gets his legs underneath him that the shot's going in.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
JJ, if there was kind of some element of the basketball gods there in those final seconds, streak and all that, but you got a better pass, Rui's open in the corner, he ends up hitting the shot. Can you just take us through that sequence and how it results?
Just playing the game the right way. You always make the right play. That's just been my MO. That's how I was taught the game. I've done that my whole career. There's not even 1 second guessing that. Once they doubled AR and the ball got swung to me, I know it's a numbers game. We got a 4-on-3 advantage, and I was just trying to put the ball on time, on target, and right in Rui's socket, in his shot pocket, and he knocked it down.
So you get the stop on the other end, no timeout, but Rui said in the walk-off that you communicated to him at some point. I don't know if you said, hey, I'm going to get you or get you the ball, or you get to it. What did you communicate? How did you do it in that amount of time with no timeout and no stop?
To put him in a payoff spot, I looked over at their bench, and obviously we didn't want to call timeout. We had a good flow. AR been cooking all night, and I started seeing our coach kind of, telling Scotty Barnes to possibly double. So I wanted to keep Rui on the same side to be my payoff spot.
Obviously, it paid off big time with the Rui three. I know that's not much time since the game ended, but now that the streak has ended for you, what feelings did you have, if any? What about it you did?
None. We won.
The general kind of offensive flow for you in the game when it came to getting your shot and stuff like that. How did it feel out there? A couple of the early misses were pretty uncharacteristically.
I'm still getting in a rhythm. This is my sixth game. Like I said, it's obviously well documented. I've never missed a whole training camp and a whole preseason before, and then let alone miss the first 14 games of the regular. So I'm still, figuring out my rhythm, figuring out, everything as far as offensively. Knowing I can still make an impact on the floor when I'm out there, but still trying to fill it out.
You're 2-0 in the last two games. You haven't scored 10 points.
I won't make that a habit though. But listen, man, you guys know the guys have been around me for 8 years. This is my 8th year here. I've been covering my career. I'll just make the right play. That's all that matters. Win, lose, or draw. You make the right play. The game guys will always giving back to me, no matter if it was a win or loss or whatever. That's just how I was raised, and that's how I always play the game.
JJ was saying that he remembers earlier in the career when you would get criticized, right, for making that pass instead of taking the shot. And I guess that collectively basketball has advanced some. You probably won't get a lot of critique for making that pass, but have you seen that evolution of it? And can you kind of remember back to those times and just sticking with what you know about this is the way you play basketball?
Yeah, of course I remember. I remember everything that's been negatively said about me in my game throughout my career. And it was always that aspect was always one of the most foolish things I've ever heard, as far as making the right pass, making the right play. We are in the business of winning basketball games, and so, my whole life I've just played the game that way. I've taught the game that way, and I've won at every single level I've played at by playing the game that way. So there was no reason for me to ever change. Once I got to this level, it doesn't change. Basketball is basketball.
I saw you before the game embrace Brandon. I was just curious if how you feel about him kind of finally settling into a spot here and playing as well as he's been playing.
B.I.'s unbelievable talent. I had him my first year in LA, obviously, and he was a young stud then. But as much seasoned vet now, super mature now. His game is mature. He's gotten better and better, and I love to see him thrive. All the guys that I played with, especially my first year, I love seeing him. Caruso, Zoe, Josh Hart. Zubek, all the guys. Just to name a few of them. These guys are. It's great to see them play the game the right way and they've been balling.
You talked about this before. The fans in Toronto, you've talked about this before, but it sounded like half the stadium was cheering for you.
They're amazing. I love it. I don't know how many games I have left here in this building, but these fans are unbelievable. This city is unbelievable. Always welcome me with open arms. Either if I was coming here to play a basketball game or just coming here to visit. I've always loved and appreciate the fans' support here, man. They're one of a kind for sure.
You've obviously been a supporter of Austin, but even for you, has it surprised you at all that he's been able to carry this usage and to produce this way and be this efficient at this usage, or is it kind of what you expected of him?
It's not surprising me. I've seen it since day one when we got him. I saw the talent. And when talent meets hard work and preparation, then I don't think there's any stopping, an individual that puts the work in. Once you have the talent, that's, we're in the NBA, everyone has talent, but in order to be consistent, you got to put the work in, and he's done that. So I'm not surprised. I'm super happy for him.